Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a new component in coordination in plants, and there are about 10 MCQs on this, which I hope will help you to navigate through the new MCQs which are going to come in the coming paper. Please attempt the paper before you watch the video. You can go through the paper as I scroll through it. Please pause the video and do the questions before you see the marking key and the answers. Before I go into the MCQs, I want to just revise this with you. So, auxins and tropism. Now, the growth of a plant in a specific direction in response to a stimulus is called a tropism. Plant growth or movement towards a stimulus is called positive tropism, and while away from the stimulus is called negative tropism. To understand, what you have to understand is that how the two tropisms work. One is going to be called the gravitropism or geotropism, and the other is called phototropism. Now, photo means light. Everybody knows that, photo. So it's all about the auxin. How does it work? Number one, the light has to be unidirectional. It's coming from this side. So this is the control in which the unit light is coming from the top. And then if you cap it, what is going to happen? Auxin moves away from light. So auxin moves towards the side away from light, which is this side. This is the light side of the light. So it's come to this side. And what does it cause? It causes the cells to elongate. So cells become longer. So these will grow more. So the shoot will grow towards the light because auxin is more on the other side, not towards the light side, but the other side, this side. So this is how phototropism works. Now you must know the difference between phototropism and geotropism. Okay, now how does this work? The tip of a grass seedling was removed and put on a block of agar. Number 2, an agar block was also placed on the shoot. Number 3, agar alone does not cause growth. Number 4, a chemical auxin flowed from the tip of the seedling into the agar block. Number 5, the agar block with auxin caused shoot elongation. Placing the agar on one side of the shoot caused it to grow in the opposite direction. Why? Because there would be more on this side. This would be more cell elongation. When concluded that auxin promoted cell elongation and that it accumulated on the side of a grass seedling away from light. The word is away from light. But what happens in gravitropism? Auxins in root tips have the opposite effect to those in the shoot tip. They stop cell elongation and they are always on the auxin are pulled downwards by gravity. So there's going to be more auxin on this side. More auxin on this side means root will grow downwards. So it encourages positive geotropism, help root to anchor the plant in the place. Well, that's of course the function of it. But in the shoot, it is also towards the lower side. In both it is to the lower side, but in the gravitropism, what you have to understand is auxin are pulled downwards by property. But here it is increasing cell elongation. Here in the root, it stops cell elongation. But they are both on the lower side. And please dissociate yourself. When you're talking about gravitropism, remember that you're talking about gravitropism, not about phototropism. In phototropism, it is away from light. In gravitropism, it is both are to the lower side. But in the root, it is going to cause what? It's going to stop cell elongation. So the root is going to curve downwards. While in the shoot, the auxin is also on the lower side, but it is going to increase cell elongation. So that is why the shoot is going to grow upwards away from gravity. So please understand this. Gravitropism, auxins both on the lower side of the root and the shoot, but in the root, it inhibits cell elongation. Inhibits means stops, slows. In the shoot, it increases cell elongation. So here we can say in the root, it decreases cell elongation. In the shoot, it increases cell elongation. So in one, it is decreasing cell elongation, and in the other, it is increasing cell elongation. So please be clear in this, and please understand this before we can really do anything else. So just pause the video here and have a look at this, understand this part of the chapter, and then we will go on to the MCQs. Now, please remember when you read this question, first of all, decide in your mind what is the topic that is being examined. Is it gravitropism or is it phototropism? So you have to understand that. So as you read this question, you come to a very interesting decision. What is it about? The diagram shows a germinated bean seed with a horizontal radical, R root. This is placed on a slowly rotating disc, which is called a clinostat, and is left for 3 days. So it's left for 3 days. Remember this now. Electric motor, slow rotating disc, radical, bean seed. Now, what does a clinostat or a rotating disc do? It nullifies the effect of gravity. So first thing you've got to understand, this is a question on gravity, on geotropism. And they want you to tell me how the root is going to behave under the effect of gravity. But what you've done is you've removed the effect of gravity because you're slowly rotating this. So it is being exposed to gravity. The thing is moving. If you look at a cross section of it, this is the effect of gravity. Then after a little while, this is the effect of gravity. Then after a little while, this is the. So it is continuously rotating. So the gravity effect is coming from all sides. So it's not going to, if you had left this disk and it wasn't working, then only then the radical would have curved downwards. But now, because you have removed the effect of gravity, because you are rotating it all the time. So which diagram shows the appearance after 3 days? The answer is C. After 3 days, it's just going to grow longer because you have removed the effect of gravity. There is no effect of gravity. Normally, a student would say this would be the effect because he didn't know what the rotating disk does. So the rotating disk would not do this. Is not be the case. This would be the case if we said that though it is placed on the rotating disk, but the rotating disk doesn't work, then of course the root will curve down towards gravity. So please understand this. What is the rotating disk doing? It is in fact, because you are rotating the root, so the effect of gravity is being nullified. The effect of gravity is being removed. So this is how you understand this question. Now coming to question number 2, the diagram shows the shoot of a seedling fixed to a rotating platform that is being lit from one side only. So light is coming from this side, rotates 4 times per hour, and this is the shoot of the seedling, and there's a damp cotton wool. The platform was allowed to rotate for 2 days. Then it was left stationary for a further 2 days. So we have 2 days it was working, and then 2 days it was not working, it was left stationary. Which diagram shows the appearance of the seedling after this 4-day period? 2 days, and look at it where the light is coming from. The light is coming from this side. So naturally the answer was D. When would have been the answer A? The answer would have been A if we had said for 4 days the root, the plant, the machine was working. So for 4 days it would have grown taller, because what would have happened? You've removed the effect of light, because what are you doing is you're rotating it, so all sides are getting light. After every 4 hours, every side is getting light. It rotates a little, and then another rotate, and then another rotate. So this is what you have to understand, is how does a clinostat work. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you how a clinostat works. So the answer to 2 was D. Why? Because it would go straight, and then it was stationary. It would bend towards light. It would grow towards light. I wouldn't say it would bend towards light. That would be a wrong English. It will grow towards light. So first it will grow in the 2 days. It will grow straight, and then the next 2 days. So this was the first 2 days up to here, and then this is the next 2 days up to here. Then coming to question number 3. I'm sorry, 4 and 3 are the same, so I'm not going to talk about the third one. Which response is a result of geotropism? Flowers being produced, growing bigger leaves, roots growing downward, seeds germinating. Geotropism is the effect of gravity on the root and the shoot. The shoot grows towards gravity and the shoot grows away from gravity. So roots growing downwards. So the answer to 3 and 4 is C. They're both the same question. Direct question. Now coming to question number 5. The diagram shows seedlings in 2 experiments on the tropic responses of seedlings to gravity and light. So experiment 1, to show the effect of gravity, we have start of the experiment in the dark, and then 3 days later, what do we see? We see the shoot has grown upwards like this, and the root has grown downwards like this. And this is the effect of gravity, and we've kept this in the dark. Experiment 2, what do we say? We show the effect of light. So start of the experiment is like that, the same as this one, this is the same. But here you see light is coming from one side. So 3 days later, what happens is that the root is growing downwards and the shoot is growing towards light. Now they're going to ask you a little tough question on this. How have the seedlings responded? And the tick is for tropic response shown and no tropic response shown. Now they want you to comment on gravity and light. Now if you look at gravity, what has happened in the first experiment? The shoot has grown upwards and the root has grown downwards. And in the light, what has happened is that the root has grown downwards and the light has grown towards light. So they have asked you what are the possible answers. A, to gravity, and to light. There are 2 columns. And you have all these tick and crosses. So you have to come to a very important conclusion. Has it responded to gravity and light? Yes, it's responded to both. So the answer was A. Why? Because here it is growing towards light. Here it is growing against gravity and the root is growing downwards towards gravity. So there is a tropic response shown. So there's a tropic response to the root, to the gravity as well as to the light. I mean, you didn't use a clinostat. Now just discussing a clinostat. Now it is basically for control experiments, contains a cork disc which can be said to rotate in a vertical or horizontal plane by a motor. Cancels out the effect of unilateral stimulus, either the effect of light or the effect of gravity, and so as to make the factors uniform or evenly distributed. So it's a control. Clinostat, C for clinostat, C for control. It's control experiment to see whether actually what we are saying is it really correct. Because if you're saying it's the effect of gravity, so if you remove gravity, will it actually change the scene? Or if you have phototropism, so then you have light from one side, in another plant you have light from all sides. So this is how it is used, a clinostat, for control experiments. Now coming to question number 6, a seedling was placed in a horizontal position. Which diagram shows the result of the gravitropic responses in the seedling? Gravitropic responses. So we've got to see the responses, gravitropism in the shoot and the root, and they've labeled root, shoot, root, shoot. They've labeled it all. Now, what is the normal thing? The root should go towards gravity. So, okay, this is the one. So I'd say this is a correct. This is here the root is growing up. This is wrong. This is wrong. You must also first decide which ones are the totally wrong ones. And then you look at the one, okay, in this, both these, so it could be either C or D. Either C or D. But then in the shoot is growing downwards. So that is why what you have to understand is when you're reading the question, you look at what is the possible answers. So the possible answers is that is why the answer would be C. Why? Because it is growing, the shoot is growing upwards and the root is growing down. So question 6, the answer is C. This is wrong because the shoot is growing downwards. This is wrong because the root is growing upwards and the shoot is growing downwards. Here they're just going straight. There's no effect of gravity. The root is also growing straight and the shoot is also growing straight. So that is why this is wrong. Now coming to question number 7. A student used two seedlings X and Y to investigate phototropism. The diagram shows their investigation. So light is coming from this side and all the light is coming from this side. All the possible experiments. Piece of glass at the start of the experiment. After some time, no curvature towards light. So we have a piece of glass on the side other than the light. So this is the other side where the auxin moves down. So the auxins are produced at the root tip and then they move down towards the side away from light. So they would be more on this side, but then there's a piece of glass which is not allowing the auxin to move this side, move down, because it's produced at the root tip. At the root tip it is produced and then it goes towards here on the other side of light because light is coming from this side. Now, in the other two diagrams that they've given you, they have said light is on this side, but there's a piece of glass on this side towards the light side, and then there's a piece of glass on this side. And then we see that it has curved towards light. It has curved towards light. Let's look at the possible answers. Which statement explains the difference in results between X and Y? The piece of glass destroyed the auxin. Now, why is that wrong? The reason you've got to understand is that this is the shoot, this is the tip. This tip produces the auxin moves down. So, how can it destroy the auxin? Auxin is produced by the cells in the root tip and then it moves down. It's a chemical. So, a piece of glass destroyed the auxin. So, this is wrong and this is wrong. It cannot destroy the auxin. The piece of glass stopped the auxin traveling down the shaded side of the seedling. The piece of glass stopped the auxin traveling down the side of the seedling facing the light. If this is the light from this side, the auxin is on this side, away from light. It is not on this side. This side, the side which is towards the light, this side, there is no auxin on this side. So that is why the answer is C. The piece of glass in X stopped the auxin traveling down the shaded side of the seedling. Now coming to question number 8, the 3 plant shoots have their tips removed. 2 of the shoots have a piece of agar gel placed on them as shown in the diagram, and the agar gel contains auxin. The shoots are exposed to light coming from one direction. Agar gel containing auxin, we've got light coming from this side. We have a plant shoot, we have a plant shoot, and we have a plant shoot, 3 plant shoots. But the difference is the agar gel has been placed away from light in this situation, and here it is just being placed on the top, so it is going to just diffuse downwards. So if this is the agar gel, it's going to diffuse downwards like this, and here it is going to diffuse downwards like this as well. It's going to be more on this side now. What is the appearance of the shoot after 2 days? So naturally this plant shoot should remain the same because they removed the tip, so it doesn't have any agar on it, so it should remain straight. Now you can see it is straight in A and B, but it is curved and the light is coming from that side. So how are you going to figure this out? You have got to understand that it is going to grow towards light. Now of course the answer is A, but why is not the answer B? You see, light is coming from this side, it's not going to go away from light, so this is wrong. Then in this situation, why isn't this curving this side? Because light is still coming from this side. And in this, why is this curving? Because this does not have any root tip, sorry, shoot tip. It doesn't have a shoot tip, it doesn't have the agar on it. So this should not curve at all. That's why I said the C and D were wrong. Because you've removed the shoot tip. It said in the question, 3 plant shoots have their tips removed, and the tip is where the auxin is produced. So now you're putting it in the agar block, you are artificially putting in the auxin. When you remove the tip, that means no auxin. It doesn't have its own auxin anymore. So the answer is A, but you must know why the answer was A. I'm not saying that you should just memorize it and say, okay, well, this question is going to come in the exam. No, they're going to check whether you know the syllabus or not, you know the actual matter or not. Then coming to the part, question 9, the diagram shows the shoot and root of a seedling responding to gravity. Which row shows where the auxin accumulates and the effect of this on the shoot? Now, you remember if I just in the beginning I said in the gravity it all goes to the lower side. So it is either A or B. But in the shoot, what does it do? It promotes cell elongation. In the root, it inhibits cell elongation, but they're asking about the shoot. In the root, it inhibits cell elongation. Roots inhibit cell elongation. Or we said decreases cell elongation. In the shoot, it increases cell elongation. So that is why you've got to understand is the answer to 9 was B. Because it is in the shoot, it is going to increase cell elongation. In the root, it is going to decrease cell elongation. So this side is going to grow more in the root. This side is going to grow less. But it is always going to be on the lower surface. I want you to understand this so that you can do any question on this in the coming exams. In a plant shoot, where is auxin made? So we know this is wrong. Only these two would be correct. It's made in the shoot tip. In a plant shoot, where is the auxin made and what is its effect? Where is auxin moved and what is its effect? So you've got to be really very clear on this. So where is auxin made? It is made in the shoot tip. So the answer could have been C or D. And then how is it going to? Is it going to promote cell division or cell elongation? So basically you've got to understand it is going to promote cell elongation because these cells are going to elongate. So then the whole shoot is going to grow towards light. So it promotes cell elongation. The word is cell elongation. Cell division also occurs, but basically it's going to promote cell elongation so that there is less growth on this side. The cells are now smaller on this side. But the cells are longer on this side. So cell elongates. cell elongation. Okay, that completes this video on the new component. This is the new component, and I hope this is going to help you in understanding this chapter and doing any MCQ on it. I'm 100% they're going to give you an MCQ on this, so please be ready for it. And thank you for subscribing, and thank you for giving me comments so that I can add new MCQs on the new component. This is the new component. This has not been examined before.